Hello, guys. It's Shane Davis, 20-year comic book veteran. I'm here with none other than the beautiful, lovely, charismatic, sometimes will make me a sandwich, Yanzi Lynn. And today is the day we're going to talk about the comic book industry and why they chase hashtags. Let's get into it. So I kind of loosely keep up with the X-Men books. I was kind of really digging Hickman at first, and then not so much. And the X books they went off the rails. But I noticed right away, my retailer was like, "How some of these books? How long are they going to last before they get canceled?" And I was like, "I don't know. I mean, order what you want." And X Factor looks like it's being canceled at issue 10. Now, an interesting thing about X Factor being canceled at issue 10 is the digital views. Obviously, I think around 30,000, anything below 30,000, Marvel usually cancels the book, right, Yanzi?
Although there's been some rumor that the number is a bit lower these days because Marvel isn't selling as well as they used to. I think the cutoff point now is like 20.
Right. So how does something sell 20,000 copies? But Shane, look, this has over 500,000 views, almost 600,000 views. So 600,000 people arguably read this book. Why is pirating so much? Well, there's a couple of factors. One of the factors are the comics not really worth exchanging money for. The swapping out artists, the cheap talent, and I really do mean cheap talent. Not a lot of efforts being put into the actual art of the book itself. They're kind of preachy. They're very SJW. They're very, I don't know, like progressive, they say. And but the thing is, on this video, I want to really focus in on here is they also chase hashtags. And when you chase hashtags, obviously you say like DC Comics recently, they had 2 books, right? They were doing this with.
Yeah, they have this celebration for the Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Like, I didn't even know that was a holiday until this year. For some reason, I was in the States for 3 years, but I only knew it's a holiday this year or a celebration this year. And then next month is, of course, Pride Month, we all know about. And both Marvel and DC are getting into Pride Month. DC is the only one getting into the Asian Pacific Month. Yay, representation!
So arguably what happens is when you chase a hashtag, it's kind of like you're connecting 2 copper wires and there's a conduit, right? They connect, you can, juice can go through it, whatever. What happens though is that doesn't mean those people on the other end of that hashtag that you're now surfing your brand through, whether it's DC Comics or whatever Marvel Comics, let's say X Factor, whatever book it is, an X-Men book, it can connect through to those people through the hashtag, but that does not mean those people are going to walk into a comic book shop, such as in the way of the X-Men books right now. A lot of them, the numbers are low. They're getting canceled. They're also trying to, the trial of Magneto. Now, this could be something that is a story element, sure. But it's also the fact it's a limited 5-issue series, a limited series. It's actually plugging a hole for this one title going down, and it's a new #1, so the sales will spike. People know the name Magneto. Arguably, X Factor should be a top-selling book. This was a book I grew up reading when I was a teen, and I liked it. They were all second-string type X-Men characters, but it was a really fun book. It had a big run of the title. So why is it a problem now? Well, and why are 500,000 people digitally stealing it, but only like maybe less than 20,000 are physically ordering it? And my idea is it's the hashtags. So when you chase BLM or LGBTQ or whatever, and you're putting story last, and you're putting creators last, and you're putting customers last even, and you're really chasing that hashtag, going super woke and everything. The idea is those people, chances are they're already seeing the hashtag on their computer or on their phone. Guess what they're going to do next? They're going to go Google it, and then they're going to come across a digital copy that happened to be stolen. And we'll see this more and more, that Marvel Comics, DC Comics, instead of pulling away from that and focusing on a core readership that's already built there, people that collect these back issues right now. There's a big surge of people getting older issues, older runs from the early 2000s into the 90s into the 80s. Well, instead of like catering to that fan base that's actually holding these brick and mortar stores up, they're actually going the opposite direction. It doesn't make sense, right? You could be getting your sales up by getting the money out of the pocket that the guy's going and digging up back issues, but instead you're still doubling down on this. And I was thinking about this, and it makes a lot of sense that they're okay with the piracy. Actually, they're chasing it. They actually want the piracy. Now that sounds weird, right? You're saying, Shane, why would a company want piracy? Hold on, it makes sense. It makes sense because when you're a corporation like Disney, when you're a corporation like Warner Brothers, and you have AT&T, you have all these characters, right? Chasing and seeming virtuous at the same time. These hashtags is a good way just to sell your overall brand. You have to understand, X-Men is a t-shirt, X-Men is a candy bar, X-Men is Nike. I'm not even making this up. There's a Adidas X-Men 90s cleats right now up on their site for sale. They're selling anything and everything but comics. So how do you get to the people, the average people, not the comic book people in the brick and mortar store? They think they already have you. They take you for granted. They want the general population hashtags. Easiest way to get on their phone, easiest way to get trending, easiest way to pop up in their social media feeds. And through that, you maybe, of course, you're not going to sell them a comic book, but you will have sold them your brand of X-Men and whatever X-Men goes into, whether it's a video game, a Marvel Legends toy, again, Adidas cleats, whatever, t-shirts, all of that stuff. Then you're selling that brand to that demographic. And I think that's that's a lot of the problems that the comic book industry is facing right now that we haven't really came to terms with. And this is a conversation I don't think enough people are having. We're really confused. We're just thinking they're misguided. We need to swap out the editorial staff. All of this stuff gets talked about. And you're talking about editorial staff. Some people are making $30,000 and living in New York City. I mean, of course, the right people for the job aren't being hired. Okay. And from that one person, then you're hiring your creative team. And I saw this tweet, and this is kind of relative, but kind of not, from Jerry Duggan, right?
He's talking about the work process right now at Marvel. So he says, the folks collaborating on X Comics are cooking up the biggest stories in comics right now. The goal is to have fun, thrill our artists and editors, and give readers what they didn't know they needed. The goal is to make the artists happy. Everyone else is along for the ride. Okay, wait, what? So the person who pays your bills, who buys the books, who literally collects them, they are not important in that chain anymore?
They're actually the bottom of the food chain. They're the last in line. And on top of that, they're going to give you something that you didn't know you needed, meaning it'll be something new, something out there that you didn't know you needed. X or Hellfire Gala, Colossus dressed to the nines. Yeah, of course. I just needed Colossus with metal skin,
having a
lifting
beard.
heavy shit. That's it. I didn't need this. I mean, I'm okay with the beard, but I didn't need a fashion show with the X-Men. But see, I didn't know I need that. Oh, thank you for telling me what I need. I'll keep my money, thank you, and I'll go buy back issues. I mean, this is I don't know. This is ludicrous that readers aren't put at a higher position in this. I don't know how else to say it. What readers want is really what you should be working to fill. That is the money you're trying to get, is your readers. Not, again, though, that makes sense if you look through the lens I was pointing out. Maybe the corporations are more about a type of outreach, using comics as a type of advertising or pamphlet just to sell the brand to who. And honestly, maybe it is social media that's killing the comic book industry. Maybe it is hashtags, hashtag X-Men, hashtag LGBTQ, hashtag BLM, hashtag whatever you want to put in there. But maybe that is actually what's killing corporate comics.
Actually, I suddenly have a bit of an idea. What if they are putting out all these books to try and attract a new audience, but at the same time, all the merch that we see, like say for example for X-Men coming out, right, is all what you call classic Jim Lee X-Men and all that stuff. So the old fans who used to love X-Men, they're like, the books are not for me. I'm keeping my $3.99, but I'm gonna go over here and buy this $19.99 figure of a classic X-Men that I love more. That's more money for Disney down the line. Do you think that's their weird game plan? We don't want their $3.99, we want their $19.99.
So Transformers has had this crossover event. They did a crossover with Ghostbusters. They did a crossover with Back to the Future. And they also did a crossover robot with X-Men. And right away, it had a classic Wolverine and classic Sabretooth. And it was the Blackbird Jet from the X-Men comics is very classic, very 90s. The robot actually had pouches on it, like, which is a very big homage to the 90s. I feel that they already know that those people exist and their pockets are deep and they can always go to that well and sell merch. I don't know if they really care about selling the comics because they feel like they've already earned you. Now it's about earning new audience. And the new audience, I don't know, when we go back and look at the digital views, I mean, if you were selling product of X-Men, not comics, but X-Men product, would you be more concerned with the 500,000 people reading your X-Men book, or would you be concerned with the like maybe 1,200 comic shops that still exist and however many customers are there, or the 20,000 people, 25,000 people that are reading your X Factor? Now, of course, they could make better comics and there would be more readers. But right now, to a bean counter, I don't know if they're not saying, and this is why our comic books suck that we're getting right now, and the creators we're getting, like Doug in there, suck, is because they're like, look, we need to keep outreaching to 500,000 people per Marvel book, but let's make them as cheap as possible. Let's say if they're only losing like maybe $2,000, per book, they're in the negative. They're like, oh, let's make it cheaper. Let's make it cheaper, but we'll sell less. Yeah, but the pirating's where it's at. They're treating like comic books like it's not a product unto itself, like it's almost like a pamphlet. But it's a little bit better because they get to recoup some of the money from comic shops for these pamphlets if they sell enough. So I guess they try to maintain that sweet spot.
So they're trying to groom a new generation to hopefully be readers with deep pockets down the road 20 years from now, maybe.
Yeah, but the irony is they're not going to sell the X-Men books they're making now as product ever. It's just not going to happen.
Tragic.
So yeah, it is tragic. But bam, Starlight Cat's new backers, thank you. We're less than $300 away from $111,000. Little Girl, Big Adventures, Cats in Space. Also, guys, we hit over 4,000 subs. Thank you. We're moving on up. Please look down below. Make sure you're subbed to the channel. It helps us out. Leave us a comment. We love your comments. Share the video, please. Big thumbs up to everyone here. Thank you for your support as we keep trying to make content for this channel. And we will catch you guys again next time. Take care.